the island where no one returns, and why it's illegal to visit. The forbidden waves the ocean doesn't whisper here. It warns you. No postcards, no welcome signs. Just endless blue hiding a secret so deep, even satellites hesitate to look twice. This is the island the world erased from its map. An island where no outsider has returned alive. And tonight, we're sailing straight toward it. You can feel it before you see it. That weight in the air, like the world holding its breath. Our crew's GPS still shows a blur. The coordinates flicker. Locals say the sea itself pushes you away from this place, as if the Earth doesn't want to remember it. They call it North Sentinel Island, a tiny than the Bay of Bengal, barely 60 square kilometers, but surrounded by stories that span centuries. Fishermen call it cursed. Anthropologists call it the last untouched culture on Earth. Governments call it off-limits. And the rest of us, we call forbidden. The line you're not allowed to cross. According to Indian law, no one, not tourists, not researchers, not even military, is allowed within 5 kilometers of the island. If you cross that invisible line, you're breaking international law and gambling with your life, because the people who live there, the Sentinelese, have made one thing crystal clear for thousands of years. They want to be left alone. No treaties, no trade, no cameras, just silence, jungle, and survival. It's not hostility. It's history. They watch ships come and vanish. They've seen strangers bring disease, greed, and fire. So when an unfamiliar boat approaches, they do what any survivor would: defend home. Echoes from the first contact. The first written account comes from 1771. British surveyors aboard the Diligent. They noted signs of life. Smoke rising from trees and left immediately. Even then, the island gave off a warning. An unspoken stay away that echoed through time. And yet, curiosity kept winning. In the 1860s, a British colonial officer landed here. He kidnapped 6 islanders, 3 adults and 3 children, hoping to study them. Within days, the adults were dead from disease. The children were returned to the island, carrying sickness the tribe had never known. That's when the Sentinelese learned what outsiders bring. From that moment, their arrows replaced words. Every contact attempt became a test of fate, and every explorer who ignored the warning never came back. Why they can't leave and we can't enter. At first glance, it seems simple: just don't go there. But the island sits at the crossroads of humanity's biggest question. How far should civilization reach before it destroys itself? Lessons from the Andaman chain. North Sentinel is part of the Andaman Islands, a necklace of volcanic jewels stretching through the Bay of Bengal. Several tribes once thrived there: the Onge, the Jarawa, the Great Andamanese. Most met outsiders in the 19th century. Within decades, their populations collapsed. Disease, displacement, dependency. Walk through the main Andaman towns today, and you'll see fragments, museum photos, recorded songs, artifacts behind glass. Every exhibit whispers the same warning: contact kills. Out of hundreds of thousands, only small communities remain. The Jarawa now allow limited contact, but even they struggle between 2 worlds, fighting to keep their traditions alive while modernity presses in. The paradox of curiosity. So here's the paradox. The more forbidden something is, the more we crave it. We turn their secrecy into clickbait, their silence into spectacle. We don't want to harm them, we just want to see. But seeing is the first crack in the wall that keeps them safe. Curiosity built empires and algorithms alike. It drives explorers, scientists, influencers. But when curiosity forgets compassion, it becomes hunger. And hunger always consumes its subject. That's why every government line around these tribes isn't just a border. It's a moral fence. Not to keep them from us, but to keep us from ourselves. Whispers from the past ancient legends across the Pacific tell of shadow islands. Lands that appear only to the worthy vanish from those uninvited. Maybe North Sentinel is one of them. Maybe the myth is memory. Humanity remembering what happens when we can't leave mystery alone. Every civilization eventually meets another. But the real test isn't what we find. It's what we're willing to leave untouched. That's the wisdom hiding beneath the arrows. The new kind of contact. Even without boats or cameras. Contact happens. The sea carries plastic bottles onto their beaches. Airplanes trace white scars above their skies. Climate change creeps through the roots of their forests. Modernity always finds a way in. Maybe one day the waves will wash something new ashore. Not a missionary, not a soldier, but a message. And maybe, for the first time, they'll decide to answer. Until then, the best thing we can send is respect. Because sometimes protecting a culture means protecting its silence. Transition to next segment. Coming up next, what the rest of us are the real isolated tribe. When connection is everywhere, why do we still feel alone? We'll explore how technology builds bridges and walls. Sentinelese and us, the digital tribe. They live surrounded by ocean. We live surrounded by Wi-Fi. Both worlds, in their own way, are islands. The difference? The Sentinelese built their walls with arrows. We built ours with algorithms. Connection without contact. We call it the connected age. Billions of messages fly every second across oceans, cultures, timelines. But ask yourself, asterisk one was. This section deepens a metaphor. We replaced isolation with illusion. Constant noise that hides real loneliness. Let's go. Digital missionaries. Every era has its missionaries. People trying to save others from ignorance. Today, they don't carry crosses. They carry content. Vloggers, activists, brands. All promising enlightenment. All demanding attention. We invade digital islands every day. Convinced we're helping. But maybe the real salvation isn't spreading our message. It's learning to listen to silence. The cost of curiosity 2.0. The explorers of the past risk their lives for new lands. We risk our peace for new followers. Both chase discovery. Both pay in loss. Every time we refresh, we ask the same question ancient sailors asked the horizon. What's next? But sometimes the world doesn't owe us an answer. The hidden tribe within. We all have an inner tribe. That quiet version of ourselves untouched by likes, untouched by trends. It's the part that remembers who we are without an audience. And every once in a while, when the noise fades, it whispers back. That voice, that silence, is your North Sentinel. Guard it. Protect it. Don't let the outside world colonize your peace. The choice. We stand between two islands, one built of silence, one built of signal. Both promise connection. Only one delivers it. The question isn't whether the Sentinelese will meet the world. It's whether we'll survive the world we've already built. Up next is the Forbidden Shore. We'll uncover the few who actually set foot on North Sentinel, and what happened when they did. Some made it back. Some didn't. This act dives into the real encounters with the Sentinelese. Filled with danger, obsession, and tragedy, the tone grows darker, tense, and suspense-driven, like a documentary thriller. The Forbidden Shore. The waves whisper warnings. Every ripple around North Sentinel tells the same story. Turn back, but not everyone listens. Curiosity has always been our curse. For centuries, people have tried to touch what should remain untouchable. And every time, the sacred distance. Distance isn't always a wall. Sometimes it's a prayer, a way of saying we exist, but we don't need to be known. Maybe that's the final lesson of North Sentinel. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Some stories are sacred because they remain unfinished. Next, we will explore the global mirror, what the Sentinelese can teach us about our own survival, our future, and the vanishing art of being human. This is where everything comes together. The mystery of the Sentinelese becomes a reflection of us, our fragility, our noise, our need for meaning. Tone, haunting, hopeful, deeply human. The global mirror. The world has been mapped, measured, monetized. But even in 2025, one tiny island remains invisible. Not because we can't see it, but because it refuses to see us. That island, North Sentinel, isn't just a dot in the ocean. It's a mirror. And when we stare at it long enough, we don't see them, we see ourselves. The world that forgot silence. Somewhere along the line, humanity decided noise equals life. We fill every second with sound, with scrolling, with striving. But silence is where civilizations start. In the stillness of firelight, in the breath before speech, in the heartbeat before creation. The Sentinelese still have that silence. We lost it. We traded it for speed, faster internet, faster success, faster burnout. Our new kind of isolation. They live apart to stay alive. We live together and still feel alone. Isolation used to be physical. Now it's psychological. You can have 1 million followers and still no tribe. You can message 10 friends and still feel unseen. And sometimes it takes a people who refuse to speak our language to remind us we've forgotten our own. The myth of progress. We call ourselves advanced. We've conquered air, land, and space. But in chasing everything, we've mastered nothing. We built skyscrapers but lost community. We cured diseases but created anxiety. We explored the stars but forgot how to look each other in the eyes. Maybe progress isn't about going forward. Maybe it's about remembering what's worth taking with us. The Sentinelese didn't evolve away from humanity. They stayed close to it. The economics of enough. They hunt. They gather. They rest. No bank accounts. No debt. No deadlines. Every day ends where it began. Full, present, alive. It's not poverty. It's balance. Imagine a world where enough is actually enough. Where happiness isn't measured by upgrades or uploads. That's the wealth we've forgotten how to count. The fragility of wonder. Wonder used to be sacred. Now it's content. We film everything, share everything, monetize everything. Until there's nothing left to feel. But the Sentinelese? They live inside wonder every day. Rain, wind, lightning, sea, all miracles unrecorded. They don't post sunsets. They live them. They don't chase storms. They become part of them. Maybe the world doesn't need more explorers. Maybe it needs more witnesses. Lessons from the unreachable. We can't speak to them, but their silence speaks volumes. It tells us to slow down, to protect what's fragile, to leave some mysteries untouched. The island's isolation is a rejection. It's resistance, a refusal to be consumed by a world that consumes everything. They are not behind us in time. They're ahead of us in wisdom, the ocean between worlds, every wave between our world, and theirs is a lifetime of choices. Each crest carries history. Colonization, curiosity, consequence. The ocean remembers what humanity forgets. That distance can be sacred. The closer we get to understanding them, the more we realize they don't need our understanding. They just need our respect. The real meaning of civilization. We define civilization by technology, law, architecture. But maybe civilization is something quieter. How we treat those who can't defend themselves. How we honor what we don't understand. By that standard, the Sentinelese are more civilized than any of us. They know what they stand for. They know when to say no. That's strength, not savagery. The world watching the island. Every year, satellite photos circle online. Zoomed images of green forests, tiny huts. Figures moving along the beach. The captions always say, "Uncontacted tribe spotted again." But those pixels aren't people, they're boundaries. Proof that a line still exists between discovery and destruction. We call them primitive. The final reflection and aftermath, the waves never stop. They erase footprints, swallow echoes, carry memories from shore to shore. For centuries they've guarded North Sentinel Island, and, in a way, guarded us from ourselves. Every culture, every empire, every generation thinks it's eternal, but all it takes is one rising tide to remind us. Nothing built by hands lasts forever. The weight of knowing. We live in an age where ignorance feels like failure. If something is hidden, we dig it up. If something is silent, we make it speak. But maybe wisdom isn't the weight of knowing everything. Maybe it's the grace to let mysteries live. The Sentinelese taught that lesson without a single word. Their silence became their shield. Our curiosity became our burden. The myth of mastery. Modern humanity worships control. Control over nature, time, even death. But mastery has a shadow, arrogance. When we think we own the world, we forget we're part of it. The Sentinelese don't own their island. They belong to it. They move with it, breathe with it, fight for it. It's not territory. It's kin. Could we say the same about our cities? The digital storm. Out here, a storm means lightning and wind. For us, It's headlines and hashtags. Every outrage, another wave. Every scandal, another crash. And somewhere in that storm, truth gets drowned. Maybe we keep staring at the Sentinelese because they're calm. They don't refresh feeds or chase trends. They simply are. And in their being, they remind us what peace used to feel like, the shared heartbeat. Strip away the screens, the languages, the flags, and every human heartbeat sound the same. Theirs, ours, all echoes in the same ocean. That's the part we forget, that we're not separate species living on the same planet. We're the same species learning different ways to survive it. The responsibility of witnesses. We've seen the edge of the map, but what we do with that sight matters more than the seeing itself. Observation without empathy becomes exploitation. Curiosity without conscience becomes cruelty. Every time we look at that satellite photo of North Sentinel, we should ask one question. Am I looking out of wonder or out of want? Echoes of respect. In 2018, after the last known intrusion, India closed the zone permanently. No missions, no documentaries, no retrievals, just silence, a modern act of mercy. To protect those who never asked for fame. That silence is sacred. It's the sound of a boundary being honored in a world that's forgotten how. The future and the fragile line. Climate change rises. Seas swell. Satellites grow sharper. The island won't stay hidden forever. But maybe the point isn't keep them untouched. Maybe it's to make sure our touch becomes gentler everywhere else. Because if the last free tribe disappears, it won't just be a loss of culture. It'll be proof that we learned nothing. The rebirth of wonder. The story of North Sentinel doesn't end on its shore. It ends wherever someone chooses, all over conquest, listening over shouting, respect over reach. Maybe that's how we rebuild civilization. Not by conquering what's wild, but by protecting it inside and outside ourselves. Call to the viewers. If you watched this far, you're part of the story now. Your curiosity brought you here, but your empathy decides what happens next. So share this video not to expose, but to remind the world. Some mysteries are worth keeping whole. The greatest legacy we can leave is restraint. A world that learns to look and then look away. Closing sequence. Somewhere beyond the horizon, a tribe lights a fire. Smoke curls into the same stars we see tonight. They don't know our names. We barely know theirs. And that distance, that sacred distance, is what keeps both worlds alive. So when you close this screen, remember the island. Remember the silence. Remember that not everything hidden is lost. Some things hide because they're holy. The story of North Sentinel Island is not about discovery. It's about humility. And if we can carry that lesson into our own noisy lives, maybe, just maybe, the last untouched tribe on Earth won't be alone after all.